sort of, I got a few things to say just to let you know that this Zoom will be recorded today. And I have my friend here, Michael Roberts, who owns Small Business Celebration Podcast. He has set us up. Here he is right here. Ooh, there he is. He's got his mask on. He set us up, and we are going to record today. And then we're going to build a podcast from this, and we're going to see how it goes. We're going to launch the podcast and market it. And this may be a regular occurring situation. We hope it is. We hope it goes well. But we're trying to get innovative because we're trying to reach more people. And I think this is a good way to go about it. The second thing I want to tell you is we have a friend on today, and he's a student at Taft College. In fact, he is our ASO president, Joshua Vasquez. And he is calling in today from New York, because that's where he lives. You may have remembered the 9/11 video that was posted on the Taft College Facebook page. And a young man was right there in New York, and he was talking about the 9/11 occurrences. And it was such a great video that I'm so happy that we have Joshua here today. And I'm going to let you say hello, Joshua, but he is now going to work with me. He's going to be our student. He's going to be the student Sherry. I'm going to be the adult Sherry. And not that he's not an adult, but he's going to be our student, Joshua. So Joshua, please say hi.
Hello all. My name is Joshua. Thank you, Sherry, for introducing me. I am this year's Taft College ASO president. The ASO is basically our student government, and our job is to represent the voice of the students, as well as to coordinate events so that our students have memorable experiences during their time at TC. And yeah, thank you, Sherry, for having me. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have today.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much, Joshua, and you are an inspiration to me. I just want to let everyone know that at the end of the session, we are going to have about 10-15 minutes for questions. So please put your questions into the chat room. I also ask that you put your name into the chat room because we will be giving away Amazon gift cards, and we can't give them away unless your name's in the chat room. So put your name in the chat room, say, hi, I'm so-and-so and I'm here. And then think about it as we listen to our friends speak from the Geekwise Academy. Think about maybe a question or two that you might have. And at any time, if the podcast or the Zoom is interrupted, just hang on. That just means we've had a little technical difficulty. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And again, after the speeches, we'll do some questions. I do want to let you know that on October 17th, we are going to have COPE Health Scholars come in and speak to us about the internships that they provide for allied health students. They've taken 10 of our Taft College students and provided internships over the last couple of years. And these students have gone on to, they're in the nursing program at Cal State. They have taken health jobs throughout Kern County. This Esteban from COPE is a very cool guy, and he will be on our next Zoom Taft Talk on October 17th. You'll get information about it. So without further ado, we have some friends here that we're going to listen to. I have Stephanie, and I wrote your name down, Moreno. Is that correct? Stephanie Moreno. She's the Student Success Specialist from Geekwise, and she's going to speak to us about a few minutes, about who she is, what's going on, and then she'll introduce our first speaker. So take it away, Stephanie.
Yes, hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. As Sherry introduced me, my name is Stephanie Moreno. I'm the Student Success Specialist here for Geekwise Academy. And so I myself was a student about a little over a year ago. So had a career in education and worked in education for about 18 years. And an opportunity came to me to take an all-women's course, a specialized course at Geekwise Academy, and I'd always been interested, but never just pulled the trigger on pursuing that interest. My two loves my whole life have been people and technology, so I felt like, sure, why not? And so was invited to come take the course, and really loved learning about it and the intricacies of like working in a team and collaborative learning, with no idea that my future would hold the possibility of me working in the tech industry in a tech adjacent um, career. And so after taking that course and learning, coding, and I went from knowing nothing about code to being able to build my own static website and put together an idea for a social impact project, and still something that I'm kind of working on the side, on my free time, if you will. And was just really enthralled by the whole Geekwise culture and just the ability for Bitwise to make connections with folks. And, our co-founder story, Irma Olgan Jr., and just her ability to just, like her story to resonate with me and like students that I had worked with, and that whole thought of like giving opportunity to underdog cities and people that you may not see as traditional tech talent. So after taking that course and being really successful, I met a lot of folks there, and was really successful at connecting with people. And shortly, it's actually been a little bit over my 1-year anniversary here with Bitwise, was invited to have a chat with the co-CEO, had no idea it was leading into an opportunity. And now flash forward, I'm the student success specialist here for Geekwise Academy, and really just helping find that untapped talent in untraditional places and being able to bring them and just kind of help them have an awareness. Sometimes folks just don't know what they don't know, and if you don't see anybody that looks like you or talks like you in the tech space, you may not feel that that space is for you. But we're here to shake that up a little bit and say tech is definitely for you. And one of the things we like to say here at Bitwise is kind of like a mantra that we carry through with our culture is no one belongs here more than you. And I feel like we really speak to that and live that in our culture at both Geekwise Academy and Bitwise throughout. And so today I have the pleasure of introducing, she was kind of my colleague in one of the women's courses, the women's course that we took together, and that's where I met Ayana Bowershaw. And so she is now in a cohort and working on some really cool things, and has kind of matriculated through our paid internship that we call cohort. And so she's going to share with you all a little bit about her journey.
Hi, so my name is Ayana, and I am currently in a Geekwise Academy cohort. I got started with Bitwise/Geekwise it was about 1.5 years ago now, and I was just looking for a career change. So I was a vet tech for about 5 years, and I did it and I loved it, but I just wanted something different. And so it was actually my mom who told me about Geekwise Academy. And I, didn't even really recall telling her about being interested in coding, computer science, anything like that. But she was like, oh, I remember one time in high school you said that. And I was like, Mom, that was 6-7 years ago now. But of course, moms remember everything. So she was like, well, this thing is about computer science, like maybe you would like it. And so it was the women's cohort, and it was actually with Stephanie. And so I took that and I absolutely loved it. The learning that I had, as well as the people were a big part of it too. Just, meeting so many faces that like are familiar now was really cool. So I did that, and I continued to take more classes for about 6 or 7 months until I got into a cohort. And so a cohort is like a paid internship of sorts, and that's where I call it a sprint. You are like learning things left and right for as long as you can. So I did that doing the development. And so we developed an API. And then most recently I switched to doing marketing. So online marketing, Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And so I appreciate Bitwise and Geekwise for allowing me to kind of make these jumps. It's not, not every company is going to let you just be like, do one thing, and then all of a sudden you're just like, hey, can I try this thing? And they're like, sure, go ahead, go have at it. So that was really a cool experience. And that's kind of has been my experience so far. We're about 1.5 years in.
Ayana, and you also, I know our CTE Dean is on, Jessica Grimes. You taught our STEM camp last month. And we had, I think, more than 30 students in there, and there was just rave reviews, and what a wonderful time. How'd that go, teaching at STEM camp here for Taft College?
I loved it. So it was grades 3rd through 12th. We ended up having kind of like the younger kids, and it was amazing. I hadn't, you know, you deal with adults all day, so it was so fun to be able to deal with kids again. We did web development, digital music, digital art, as well as programming. And of course, everyone knows, you know, it being virtual, it's a little bit different, but I call them kids, but the students were just so engaged, so ready to learn. So it was really fun to also like learn with them in this virtual world. But they learned a lot, and I learned a lot too.
Yeah, well, you know, this is really about Geekwise paying it forward too, because we have these youngsters out in Taft that get an opportunity to be around, you know, your innovative minds and get and learn what you're learning. And really, that's about building this pipeline, and that's what we're trying to do out here too. That's why the relationship with you is just so important. And you know, and having your young you know, information, you know, kind of go out to them. It's special, and they really liked you, Ayana. So thank you very much. And thank you. Before we go, and thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Before we go on, we are going to do our first giveaway for a $50 Amazon card. And Mahia is going to let me know who that is. Soon. I see some friends on though. Boy, Esteban, are you on from Cope? I think I saw Esteban. He might be doing something else. It's good to see Dr. Miner, our Vice President of Instruction, is on. Dr. Daniels, the president of our college, is on. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Daniels. Of course, I mentioned Jessica Grimes, our CTE Dean and Dean of Instruction. I know Terry Davis is on. We're looking for a name, Mahia. I'm looking for a name for our giveaway.
Okay, our winner is Daniel Dundas.
Who is that?
Daniel Dundas.
Woo, Danielle.
Woo-hoo.
Whoop, whoop. Congratulations. Mahia has your name, and you will get to spend a $50 Amazon card any way you want to. And that is of our kindness to you and your kindness for being here. So we thank you. We are going to move on to another special guest from Geekwise. Her name is Rocky Garcia. And for a long time, Rocky, I thought it was a gentleman. But when I met you today, I said, Rocky is a lady. And boy, what a great name you have. Rocky is going to share her story about where she started and how she got into this position with Geekwise. And she's the curriculum architect for Geekwise. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Rocky. And thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, thank you for inviting me. Hi guys, so I'm Rocky. It's a nickname my dad gave me pretty much when I was born. My actual name is Raquel. So I grew up in Fresno and Carruthers, back and forth. My parents were split up, so I split my time. And so I went to, Raisin City Elementary School, really small school, mostly mostly children who had been like English as their second language, pretty much. So as I was ahead of the game just because I knew English, and my mom, she kind of noticed that, and she was like, okay, we need to like move you to a different school. Let's see what we can do. So I moved around a lot, and as I got older, I was kind of realizing like, oh, a lot of my friends have been friends since they were little, and like, just little things like that. Like I don't have a typical childhood. So I don't know, it kind of like weighed on me, and then my grades got worse. The teachers, they always kind of just wrote me off as like, this kid just doesn't like school. They don't want to be here, stuff like that. They're a bad kid. So I graduated high school, and then I tried going to Fresno City for a little while. I was also living on my own at that point. So I was trying to work and go to school. At some point I was just like, okay, I need to just get as many hours at work as I can. So I did that for a while. And then I found out about Geekwise, and this was 2014, where Geekwise and Bitwise is not as well known as they are now. So I was pretty skeptical. I didn't know what it was. And then I just looked them up and I saw, okay, they have a website, they're legit. I can pay online. I don't have to talk to anybody. I'm a huge introvert, so that was a big plus for me. I didn't have the money to actually afford the class. So what I did was I opened up a line of credit. And then I put my first class and bought a laptop with that credit card. Almost maxed it out. So I took my first class, and from there I was hooked. I don't know if you guys know the VP of Bitwise. Her name is Terry Solis. She was actually the co-instructor for my first class, and she was the one that really kind of went in and just walk around and ask everybody how they're doing, just as a person, as a human being, like human to human. Let's talk to you about like how you're doing. And that was the first time I ever experienced that in a school setting. For the most part, like you meet with your counselor one time when you go to college and then you never see them again. But it wasn't like that at all. When I came to Geekwise, like I saw everybody all the time. They all wanted to talk to me, and it was so different. So stuck with it. I got invited to the second cohort and finished that. After the second cohort, I went to work for a startup company, a local startup company, as a developer, and I did that for 2 years. After that, I went to Shift 3, and I got hired there. During this time, I did teach some courses for Geekwise. Terry Solis, again, she was the one that was like, we would like you to teach. And of course, me being an introvert and not liking talking in front of a group of students, she was like, this will be a perfect opportunity for you to, step out of your comfort zone and learn to be a little more confident in speaking in front of a group. And because initially I had declined. I was like, I appreciate the offer, but I'm too scared, basically. And she was just like, nope, not acceptable. You start Monday. So I started Monday, and I did that for a few months. After I came to Shift 3, I came on as a curriculum or solutions architect at first. So I was working with clients and pricing projects, writing the scope of work for the projects. And then I did that for another 2 years maybe, and finally transitioned over to Geekwise, where in the role that I'm doing now. So I'm curriculum architect for Geekwise, helping build the curriculum and standardize it for all the expansion cities coming up as well. And this is actually, I didn't know it, but this was my dream job. I didn't know this was actually like the ultimate goal, but I did, when I was teaching, that was the thing I loved the most about teaching, was building the curriculum for the class. And then so much so that even after I was done teaching, I was always trying to like volunteer my time to help with the curriculum. So when this position opened up, I pretty much, was at their door begging for them to let me do this, but it worked out and I love it now. So this is what I'm doing. And it's been such a, just a wonderful experience, especially with us going virtual. So many new challenges with that. But we have such a great team and we have so much fun. Like we put in all the hours of work, but we're also laughing in between, meetings and stuff, with like cracking jokes. It's great. So I love the position I'm in now. And that's my story.
How important was the mentoring that you received from the young lady that you mentioned twice, the vice president? What did she do? Because you mentioned her twice, and I'm thinking that must have made a big impact on you. What do you think? How do you think it made you feel?
I would honestly say with confidence that she is the main reason that I am where I am now, because without her talking to me and getting to know me and actually seeing the work that I produced, I feel like it would have been so easy for me to fade into the background, because I am such an introvert. I am quiet. I keep to myself. I don't speak up in class. I'm just I don't know. I felt so and I've always been used to fading into the background, because that's what traditional school had shown me, is like, if you're not constantly, in making noise, you don't get seen. So The fact that she actually came to me and talked to me, and she would meet up. She was always like organizing things for students to meet each other and connect with each other, and then also just giving general advice on how to get a job. She knew that we were all her competition as well, but she didn't care. She was like, this is what we need to be doing. We need to be helping each other. We're all in the same boat. We're all learning. We're all in a new career field. Let's all work together. So I think that's probably the biggest reason why she made such an impact.
Have you shared, I know you're there, but have you talked to anybody else that you know and had them come into the Geekwise Academy? Have you met people and said, you know, this might be a good thing for you?
All the time. I actually, yeah, people are always asking me, you know, they're like, oh, like, I see you actually have a job now, like, because people are surprised that I actually made something of myself, which is unfortunate because it's just, you know, it's like I wasn't a bad kid or anything, but I was quiet. So, you know, I don't know what the stereotype is there, but they're just like, oh, actually I recently bought a house, and they're like, oh, you bought a house. What are you doing? What did you do? And I was just like, I worked really hard and I went to school and, you know, so, and then I tell them about Geekwise and how Geekwise changed my life. And so all the time I'm always recommending Geekwise.
Well, it sounds like you're quite the young lady, and you've come out of your shell a little bit. I mean, you're doing pretty good talking to us. I know you didn't want to talk in front of people, but you're doing a really good job. You did a really good job today, and you know, I admire you because you articulated who you felt you were at that time, and now who you've become, and keep in mind it never stops. You're just going to keep growing and keep going, and that's really exciting. And I love that Geekwise and Bitwise has given you that opportunity. Any last words for us, Rocky?
No, you really did sum it up there. It really is the feeling I have, and I appreciate everything that they've done and everything, and I appreciate all of you being here listening to my story, because to me it's just you know, my story, and to you guys, maybe you guys can relate to it. So I appreciate you guys being here and listening.
Well, thank you for speaking to us today. I'm sure there's a lot of us in the audience that can relate to that. And, you know, stories, I think, are the best things that we can hear from each other, because it helps us grow and learn and know that we're not alone, especially in times like this, right? So thank you. Thank you so much, Rocky, and best of luck to you. We hope we hear more from you. I see Esteban. I just want to take a moment to say hello, Esteban. How are you?
Hi, Sherry. I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Esteban is from Cope Health Systems and Scholars, and I told you he would be here October 17th. I just wanted to say hello to you, and I'm so glad you're on today. Can't wait to meet you.
Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to be here next month.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you, Esteban. Okay, well, we're going to move on to our last friend from Geekwise Academy, and her name is Jackie Solano. And Jackie, too, is going to share her story. Everyone has a story, it seems like, at Geekwise, because everybody kind of goes in and they don't know what's going to happen, but they kind of feel that it's right. And as you can tell with Rocky's story, she found a lot of herself, and I'm sure she's going to find a whole lot more, but she's doing very well. And that's success. And success is what we want in all of our young people. We want our people to be strong and successful, and work and feel very good about themselves so they can grow as people and grow their families. So we're going to hear from Jackie Solano now, and she is what it says here is a former Geekwise Academy student, but she is a developer for Shift 3 Technologies. And I know you've heard a little bit about Shift 3 Technologies. So Jackie, take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sherry, for introducing me. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, my name is Jackie Solano, and this is my story. Back in the day, my mother did everything she can to make sure that me and my sisters had a well upbringing, because her and her family and my father, they worked in the fields. That's what they did. And they lived in poverty, lived in little huts where a family of 6 had to live in one little home. So that was her whole life. And she, like, no, my children will not have this life, and I will work to the end to do so. And that's what she did. And with that, though, with someone as such a strong, inspirational, and amazing and beautiful, also comes with, their own kryptonite. And my mother's kryptonite was diabetes. She got sick. So by the time I was in high school, my mother's health was declining. She became where she needed a cane. And then by the time I graduated high school, her toes had been amputated. And then my first year of college, she had lost one of her legs. And by the end of her life, she had lost both her legs. So I didn't have a normal like high school time. I didn't go out, do things. My time was spending with my mom, which was super awesome. I loved it. I learned a lot about patience, understanding, and everything like that. And through that, I'm very thankful for those lessons. So me and my mother were very close. All of us were very close because we were with her every day. I helped her shower. I helped her with a bedpan. I did all that with, happiness and everything because I had her there. And she was our rock and everything like that. And to cope with this, I don't know if you guys remember MySpace. That's actually what I got my taste in coding, was through MySpace. And I was like, ooh, it's super cool. I want to do things like that. But when MySpace died, I thought that kind of thing died too. I didn't see anything of it. So whenever things got hard, I would go online, try to figure things out, but couldn't find any. So with all that, in April on Easter of 2014, my mother passed away. And suddenly, when you have someone that you take care of every day, all day, and that's who you spend your time with and nothing else, and all of a sudden they're gone, and that's all you knew, it's just like all of a sudden the world stops. But the world doesn't stop for you. It has to keep going. I now had to take care of a house. I had to take care of my younger sister. All of a sudden I had all these responsibilities at 21. And it's not fault to my mother. She did everything she can. So I had to pick up and get a job as soon as possible and hustle for the next 3 years of my life. That's what I did. I would work and work. I didn't do anything that I enjoyed. There was no passion. All I knew was to work, to keep showing up for work. And even then I learned there was nothing because I would still be in the negative. I went months without PG&E. I went months where I was digging for food in the couches to see any change and things like that. All these struggles, but I kept on. Even though I cried almost every night, I kept enduring on because I had to think about my sister and everything like that. So it came to a point in my life, though, where I was just like, I need to do something different, or I'm going to do something that would not let me be here today. So through all that, my significant other, him and his father, they actually worked on the floors at Geekwise South Stadium. So when I started, I've always been a person to myself, let, struggles keep to myself, because I didn't want to bother the world with it and everything like that. When I was finally open to telling him some things, he's like, oh, you like coding? You like things like that? I heard about this Bitwise place. We worked for it, but I'm not sure, what it's about. Check it out. So I said, okay. I was just down in my life, and I was so depressed, and I was like, I need to stop being scared to take chances and just look into it. So I did. And I saw Geekwise and I checked it out. $250 was really expensive for me at the moment, and I barely had anything. But I told myself, you know what? You never know. And for the first time in my life after my mother died, I just took a leap of faith and just believed that this is going to be okay. And it was the best decision of my life. I walked in that class. I saw a high school friend, walking into doors. It smelled like coffee. You felt the energy. You felt the happiness, the laughter. It was like a Hallmark commercial that just kept replaying, And I felt like the trumpets of heaven and the gates open. And I hadn't felt like that since my mom was alive. And so that for me, I was hooked. And then I got to meet Terry Solis, that Rocky mentioned. She's also my rock, my inspiration. Um, Terry believed in you. Even when you didn't believe in yourself, she believed in you. And I would not be where I am today either if it wasn't for her strength, her belief in me, to put me through things that I never thought I can do. And it's because she believed. And so because of that, I was like, I'm going to do this. Well, no matter what it takes, I'm going to be a part of this. And so I took all the classes. I got into the women's cohort, and Awesome Rocky was my cohort instructor. Super awesome, inspiring woman. I went to high school with her as well. So it was really cool to see each other, like, oh, I see you. Hey. So that was really nice. And we are now best friends because of it. So thank you, Geekwise, for that. And so, yeah, I took all the courses, got into the women's cohort. Then I got into the paid internship cohort. And then I got hired on with Shift 3. And it's been a party ever since, you guys. It's Disneyland. Everybody who asks me, like, where do you work? Disneyland. I'm like, well, really? And I'm like, yeah. Bitwise, Geekwise. I would not be who I am. Right now, I'm looking for a house. I no longer have to dig through couches. I never have to worry about a bill. And I can't even express how good it feels to be able to help my family, to be able to provide for them and have money on the side and be able to, like, I got it. Don't even worry about it. So they don't have to deal with what I did. And helping others and donating, and it's a beautiful feeling. And I never thought I would be here. I thought I was going to be at my same 8 to 5 job, hating my life every day. But no, dreams do come true, and I'm living that. And it's all thanks to Geekwise and Bitwise. So thank you. And sorry for crying, but I can't help it. So thank you very much.
No, stories, it's our life and it's our experiences and it's emotional. Life is emotional, and it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate you sharing your story with us because they're very personal. But I look at this and I see you and how far you've come. And you again spoke about Terry Solis being sort of a mentor to you and Rocky both. I think you in particular have so much going on, and I know you have to be fairly young, and I'm not asking you your age, but you're already looking to buy a house. You already are standing on your 2 feet, right? Financially, you feel very strong because you took a leap of faith. And I think that's a lot of what our young people need to understand, that sometimes, don't you think? Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been scared. And, I always thought that living in a life that it's just, you have a ritual, right? And my ritual was taking care of somebody that I dearly loved and learned a lot. And I love that. And then when that stops, you're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And then living through struggle with no PG&E, with not being able to pay a bill, having to talk to my landlord, like, those moments of that no one taught me. There is no manual to deal with these things. There's no manual. Hey, you're the main person who took care of you is now gone. Figure it, there's no steps what to do. And I had to learn that. And I'm grateful for the teaching she's taught me, patience, strength. And I always told myself, someone else has it bad out there. I got to do it. I got to do it for them. Got to do it for those who've gone. And stuff like that. And yeah, taking a leap of faith is very scary. I closed many doors. It's because I went on interviews, and after being told no many times and being, judged by, no one knows your story, right? They only judge from what they're looking. And, I didn't get any chances. And after a while, you get so scared. Like, finally, I have something stable. It's not the best, but it's the best I could do right now. And if I move from this, what if it, everything fails? And I'm going to tell you, you know what? Sometimes you gotta let it get bad before it gets better, and you gotta open up. You gotta, take that faith, leap, and that's what I did, and I'm very grateful that I did, because I would not be here. And I very much encourage, if you ever face a door, and you're like, no, just do it, just jump, just jump.
Yeah, I think I'm so glad you said that, because for these Taft Talks, that's been a little bit of our mantra or our overtone. It's okay to fail, because you don't know. Sometimes you don't know. You have to go out there and you have to try things, and you might fail at it, but it's okay. It's okay. You can make another decision and try something else that you might succeed at. But it's the only way you can figure things out. And if you hadn't taken that leap, you would have never known about Geekwise. You would have never known. And so if people are just sitting around afraid to maybe try something new, I want to encourage people, try something new, because I know it worked for me. I'm a lot older than you, and I see that it worked for you. And I think it can work for everybody. And it's okay. People fail. It's not the end of the world. Try not to fail a lot, but if you fail, it's okay. Just keep going, keep persevering, keep grinding it out. I love your story. I love your story, and I appreciate you sharing that with us, Jackie, because it was very personal. I do want to encourage everyone on right now, please start submitting questions, because we're going to take some questions from you guys. But I do want to go back to Stephanie for a minute. Stephanie, are you still around?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Stephanie, what do you think? What do you think about these? I mean, these three, they're so special. Yeah, kind of.
They definitely are. I just kind of wanted to add to Jackie's story as well. Like, she's so super amazing and so super humble that she won't toot her own horn. But I just have to say that just having her on our team as one of the instructors to be able to like breathe this energy and this life into folks is super inspirational, and to watch her now transition full circle into the person who is energizing other people is an amazing thing to be able to see. And she teaches our mobile friendly class, which is our second course. So folks that just know enough to get into trouble, I like to tease them and say, because they learn the basics and the fundamentals in the first class, and then they come to Jackie and she turns it up 10 notches. And like, it's really cool to be able to see her pour that in. And that's very much our Geekwise culture. It's just like contributing to the success of others. When I said I worked out at a school district and someone came to visit me and change that, that person was Terry as well. And so there is definitely a common thread within all of us. And Ayana, I know that she definitely helped support her on her journey, as well as Ayana was exploring and thinking about like, hey, the development is cool and I can handle it and I'm okay at doing those things, but I don't really see that being on the end of my trajectory of my place here in the tech space. And Terry making that feel like it's totally okay. And so we worked really closely with her to find what felt like her journey, right? And so being very open to that. And then with Rocky, now she's like my counterpart. But at one point when I was in the second, they were in the first rendition of the women's course, and then Ayana and I were in the second, we say like second gen women's specialized course. Rocky was very inspirational and a mentor to me through that process. Like the very first night of class, we had this orientation. There was like 50 women in there, and sitting in we have a theater in South Stadium. And so we're sitting in the theater in South Stadium, and Rocky gets up and speaks and like, is a person of few words. So like, I know all that of her, but went up and said, I just want to encourage you all to just take this chance. And I'm a person who, as a former instructor, would rather take a room full of tryhards over a room full of know-it-alls any day. And I was like, what? Like, what does that even mean? Like, to me at the moment, I just didn't even comprehend what she was trying to say. But then as I got into my journey, really understood that what she was saying is just, give it your all. And like a measure that we use for success here at Bitwise and Geekwise is, does somebody have the grit and determination to succeed? Do they have the ability to contribute to the success of others? Like, are they willing to go above and beyond to try to make that connection with another person? Like, we're so super human centric at figuring out what that needs to look like for each individual, that each one of our journeys kind of emulates that, right? And so it's so interesting to see the dynamic of like, it now comes full circle. She's now like on a team with me and I'm a part of that, and like the whole process of it all really just creates this amazing dynamic and feeling within our team. And as we come out and champion and speak to different folks throughout the Valley. It just really makes us feel encouraged because like Jackie said, it really does feel like this surreal Disneyland, so to speak, for an adult workplace where we all get to come in and we've gone on trips before to like conferences and stuff pre-COVID, and folks would mention, from, different areas, like, oh, who are you here with or whatever. And we're like, oh, this is our team. And they're like, oh, and you guys all hang out together and like, you all like each other. And like, yeah, we love working with each other. And so there's just a different dynamic and a different ethos about like the reasons like all of our journeys have kind of come together, and we all continue to support each other along whatever those next steps are, right? As we're, now in COVID times, and like some folks feeling isolation and feeling disconnected, we do our best to make sure that we are all being like mindful of each other and making those little gestures to connect with folks, and some folks on the team randomly sending snacks to each other, and just like all of the things to just make sure that we continue to embody that culture all the way across the board.
I love that you said you're human-centric. I pick up on that from what everyone has said today.
Mm-hmm.
You're very focused on each other and helping each other and trying and doing. And you're not know-it-alls. You guys are very humble and you've achieved so much. And I like the fact that you said, I didn't realize Jackie had done so much. She is so humble. And
Yeah.
You're telling me that all of the things that she's done, and gosh, that's incredible. Same with Rocky. I know that someone, and I want to thank you, Stephanie, somebody on our group had their hand up. Terry Davis, did you have a question? Are you still here? I'm not sure if he's still here. He may have left.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, Terry, did you have a question? Terry Davis is he's an adjunct professor, and he's the coordinator for our Hutchison Engineering Promise Program, which is an incredible 2-year engineering promise program here at Taft College. Terry, what did you have to say?
So I had a question for Rocky, actually. Rocky, I worked for Chevron for 32 years and as an environmental scientist, environmental engineer, most of that time. And now I teach. And so I'm getting to write curriculum on occasion for some of my classes. And I just wanted to ask you a question. So when you're doing writing curriculum, do you reach out to experts, to friends, to business partners, and develop the subject matter for it?
Yeah, actually, I do that all the time, and most commonly with the instructor themselves, because a lot of our instructors, like Jackie, have been teaching for a while. And yes, I did teach for a while too, but this was also a couple years ago. So technology changes so quickly, and the best way for me to stay up to date is to have these meetings with the instructors who are also currently developers in their fields. So I consider them very much to be experts in their field. And then there's also the part where my previous role, I was in I was more a part of like the sales and consulting process. So figuring out the projects and then figuring out what type of technology to use when building the projects, and then also learning about so doing that, I actually got to see the volume of projects that came in and the volume that for each technology stack. So then I got a really good insight on what customers were currently asking for. And that was, I could have only done that if, because I had the role that I had in the past with Shift3, one of the Bitwise sister companies. So yeah, there's a lot of collaborating with current companies, business experts and everything. And then there's also pulling from my own experience in my previous role and also as a teacher.
Great, thank you.
Very good. Mahia, do you have another question? If not, I know Jessica Grimes, she had a question. I see it on the chat. Jessica, what?
Oh, yeah. Let me cycle through where did I write my question? Oh, what careers do Geekwise alumni pursue upon completion? I was really excited to hear about the stories of the representatives here who have gone through different cohorts and returned to Geekwise. And so I was curious about what other careers, your alumni pursue. So I thought I would ask that question.
Yeah, there's a huge variety. Jessica, as far as like whatever, it's really interesting because although we're such a large or becoming a larger organization, we have very individualized supports in line for all of the students. And so like in my time here as a student success specialist, like we've seen everybody from freelancing and in taking some of those jobs to taking up positions with Shift 3, our software development company within Bitwise, to people starting up entrepreneurship, right? And starting up their own business and being able to move through that. It really just depends on the individual and like what they see their long-term goal being. And like for myself, like I could, Jackie teases me, so I'm going to be careful in how I say this because I say, I could just barely code to save my life. And she's like, no, girl, you got it. And I'm like, okay, so I can code, but like I really know that humans is where it's at for me, like the interaction and those things. So also finding space in a tech adjacent or support role is equally as important for us too. So Ayana is now shifting over from development to online marketing, where it's a little bit more like in the social media and that kind of thing, and the platform of like kind of advertisement and that type of thing. All the way up to, Jackie is still currently a developer and a really great one at that. And so it could be all of those things.
Thank you.
Mahia, did you have another question that you've gotten from the group?
Yes, I have several questions here from
Okay.
Larry Lazaro. Does Geekwise help with job placement after finishing courses?
Yes, so that's when we definitely do not do or consider ourselves a job placement entity or are not promising or guaranteeing jobs after taking the courses. One, because like I just mentioned, it's such an individualized process as to where people want to go. But also like it's a big factor of like how we measure the different students, like how I said we talk about like grit and determination. That's actually like a considered factor in when we're making decisions. And so like sometimes people ask us for quantifiables or like, where's your rubric for how I get into a cohort? Well, there's not an application process. We don't have a rubric. And you have to be invited to try out for a paid internship or cohort. So it is definitely very outside the box. And so with that being said, but we do have lots of industry partners and folks that come and seek us out for setting folks up for the next opportunity. So it really just depends on the person's grit and determination, and like their involvement in community is very crucial to us being able to help support them in their future career aspirations. So.
And also, if I can piggyback, because Stephanie's being too modest here, she also does workshops for resumes, right? Like, so after all that, she can help you magically make that thing look beautiful, and then get you, and see who needs connections and connect that way too. So that's an awesome thing. And thank you for that, Stephanie. It's always helpful.
Very good. Mahia, do you have another question?
Yes, also from Larry. Does Bitwise, Geekwise offer any scholarships?
We do. We're actually getting ready to ramp up another website for beginners virtual course on October 19th. And you can find all that information. I did leave our link to our website in the chat there. We are able to offer a limited amount of scholarships for the courses. The courses are offered 2 nights a week. This next round, it'll be Monday and Wednesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. And we're able to offer a few scholarships. But one of the really cool things about like my position and my ability to kind of work flexibly with and support students is we're willing to take payments. And so if the $250 are like, would really cause a strain on that particular family, then we're willing to take payments or, you know, provide partial scholarships if that's something that that student is needing. And so we definitely find ways to remove barriers to entry the best that we can. But we are limited to a specific amount of scholarships each round that we start. But if you have a student that comes to mind, and I know, like, you know, you all working in education, I know what that feels like when you have that one kid that's in your heart that you're like, this would really be great, great for them, but they may not have the familial support, they may not have the financial support. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on as well is like supporting folks who come with recommendations. So meaning like someone that you can vouch for, someone that you know, this kid really needs that opportunity. And so if you're willing to kind of champion for that student or that person in your life that you feel like this is exactly the opportunity that they're waiting for, you know, Jackie or Rocky or Ayana's story really resonated with this student, or even, you know, family member that you have in your life that you feel like, hey, they really are in need of that change. Please feel free to shoot me an email and we can have continued conversation or a private one-on-one to just kind of see how we can support.
That sounds really good. You know, you have my mind spinning because we have so many students here on our campus and they're from just a myriad of backgrounds, and I'm sure they'd all be very interested. In fact, after the STEM camp, I think we talked about hopefully when we can all get together again, doing a field trip and having some of our students come out to the Bitwise location in Bakersfield when you're ready, and who knows where that may go. But I mean, this collaboration is going to go on and on because we want you in our world and we want to help you succeed as well. There's so much that I think we can collaborate on because I think that we can certainly understand a lot of who your students and maybe employees are, and it relates very closely to Taft College. So Mahia, do you have another question?
Yes, this is from Joshua Vasquez. Okay. What does the typical day as a coder developer look like?
Nice.
How about Jackie?
Jackie? Yeah, Jackie, do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. It consumes of a lot of screen time. So I'll just tell you what my day is like. I can't speak for everyone, but typically, you get in, I don't know if you guys are aware of like the tools for development, but like GitHub, you log into your GitHubs, see what's needed for your project, check out what's the status, and then get back into the grind. Maybe I was working on something from the night before. I'm a hustler when it comes to coding. Like I love it. Like I love code. I live for code. That's just for me. So I'm coding up until 4 a.m. like it's a party. And having a great time. That's just my thing. So for me, I just pick up from my 4 a.m. Crash and go from there. Every day I have a stand-up meeting with my team. It's for 30 minutes. We just talk about what did we do the day before? What did we accomplish? And what are we working on today? It's not like, oh, you know, you said you were going to do this and you said you were going to finish yesterday. We're here today. No, not at all. This is again why I love my job. No one's over your back. No one's hovering over. It's very seamless. People believe in you. They leave you alone and then say, hey, we just check on each other for those 30 minutes. How's everybody doing? Everybody's doing great. Awesome. See you later, alligator. And everybody goes on. And we're working
Jackie,
away.
what are you coding? What actually are you coding? What are you building? Like what does that look like? No, that's okay. But yeah, just curious.
So I'm building in right now in React, JavaScript, and backend is Python. So the app that I'm working on, so I am part of Shift 3, but recently I moved up to a different sister company called 6 Degrees, a product that came from Shift 3 and now is its own stand-up company like Order Slip, that we do for credit unions. We make an app for credit unions to work on, and we keep them scheduled and stuff like that. So it's an MRM application, and it consists of me building, you know, tables. It consists of me building, you know, details of information. And in that language that I'm using is React.js, and Python for the, back end, and using cool things like GraphQL, getting detailed information. But that is what I do. That's my thing every day. That's my jam.
Yeah.
And I apologize, my baby's moving.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. So
no, but I think that was good, because Jackie, it is very technical, and I don't know if Joshua got his question completely answered, because you never know. Some people here might be looking into coding or doing coding in the long run, but it sounds fun, and it sounds like what Geekwise and Bitwise are doing is they pick up projects from companies, and then you guys build things for them and work on things for them. So it's industry partnership related is what you're doing. It sounds
definitely.
like.
Yes,
yeah,
and it's really fun. And I can't even begin to explain the confidence that they give us. And, no one's hovering over you. Like I said, no one's have these crazy deadlines that we need to. And if you fail, you lose your job or nothing. No, everybody's super cool, super crazy. In fact, it's kind of scary in the beginning, because you're like, wow, you have so much trust in me. What if I break something? What if I send something up and the whole website gets on fire? And, it's happened before, but you don't lose your job. They said, oh, it happens. We got you. And then they just tell us, next time do this. But yeah,
that's awesome.
It's a really fun thing. And my all day, what I do is just code up. You need to have your breaks. You get up, walk around for 15 minutes. You can't stay at that, screen, even though when it's failing and stuff like that. There's a lot of victories. There's a lot of sadness too, when, something's broken and you're trying to figure that out. So for me, it's a marathon every day, and it's a fun marathon. I have my ups, I have my downs, but at the end of the day, I always go to bed with a smile on my face. And the best part is I wake up excited to come to work every day, even on the weekends when they tell me,
That's
but
wonderful.
I love it.
Yeah, Joshua, some of our students probably are going, okay, well, if Taft College is going to have a field trip, I really want to go. And then that leads me to this question. I see Susan Groveman, our Executive Director of Community Relations and Marketing, had a question. And I don't know who this would be for, maybe Stephanie. I know that you have locations in Bakersfield, and you may have come slow down because of the COVID. You may have had to slow down. I don't know. But what are your plans for your expansion into Kern County?
Yeah, so we're still on schedule with our buildings, the physical buildings there in Bakersfield. And so I think they're set to be ready within the next month or two. But because we are taking COVID and sheltering in place and the safety of our employees and community really seriously, we are already locked into sheltering in place at least through the end of 2020, and possibility of nothing concrete, but possibility of also including some of the months in the first quarter of 2021. And so we're just going to kind of play it by ear to see when the physical space is able to be available in the most safe and precautious way that we can. But as of right now, one of the really cool things this whole week, it's funny because this is the theme for me, is like flipping COVID on its head a bit and talking about what are some of the amazing opportunities or things that have come from this virtual world, and like the ability to attend conferences like this. It would have taken a lot more coordination for all of us to be in the physical space, but here we are. And so different opportunities like that is really exciting me. And it's been the theme this week of being invited to conferences and things like that in New York City, where like that would have probably been a hard no with coordinating schedules and all those things. But now I can pop onto a call and be a part of this collaborative, right? And so we're also like really excited that our virtual courses, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, those are completely open to anybody in any place with accessibility to internet and a laptop. So if you have anybody out there in Taft, and I know Sherry kind of gave me the breakdown of like the location of where Taft is and where Bakersfield is. And so we are definitely putting in lots of efforts in connecting with community as well. So yesterday I was a part of a panel that we created at Bakersfield Bitwise specifically, called the Bako Download, so the Bakersfield Download. And so we put on this whole production to be able to get people more familiar with kind of what Bitwise has and what we do and like the software company. And we spend a little bit more time talking about all of the entities and the ecosystem, like I mentioned to Sherry. And so I did drop links to some videos that explain a little bit more about like what is Bitwise and like a really concise way, and really cool audio and video. I'm a visual person, so I'm always all about those kinds of things. And then there's also one in there about Geekwise Academy. And so right now the virtual courses are open to anybody. So if there's anyone interested in those or wants further clarification or information on that, feel free to reach out to me. And you know, I'd love to have a minute to chat with you if you feel like, hey, I think I may be ready for that. The only requisite for that would be that you type 35 words a minute and you can navigate your browser and check your email, and like those things are like the first entry level you know, website for beginners course. You would need to be able to at least do those things. And there's lots of support here at Geekwise. If you haven't felt that already, I just have to reiterate, you know, we have study groups and we have over 1,200 folks in our Geekwise Slack channel that are always open and willing to help support the next person. So
very nice. Very nice. Stephanie, that sounds incredible. And I'm so impressed with the Geekwise Academy and all of the things that you're doing to make our world a better place. Really. I want to let everyone know that our platform, taftcollegemultiply.com, will have connection information to Bitwise and Geekwise on there if you'd like to log on and you get the information to get back to Stephanie. Or if you're looking for it, you can always call me or Mahia here at the college. We'd be happy to give you the information to reach back out to Stephanie. I want to say that Stephanie, Ayana, Rocky, and Jackie, you are an inspiration. And it's so wonderful to see what you've done and how far you've come. And this was really a lot of fun. And I hope everyone on this call enjoyed it as much as I certainly did. And I almost feel like I want to start coding, but it may be too late for me. I don't know. But I certainly want to talk to some youngsters about coding and maybe looking into Bitwise and the Geekwise Academy.
It's definitely not too late. We've had
it's not too late.
Young as 7 and as old as 72, and that's my favorite part of my job to be able to share, is that it's never too late.
Okay, well, I'm not 72, so maybe I got a chance here. Mahia, we're going to give away one more card, right, Mahia? One more
yes,
Amazon card. Who is it?
The winner of the $50 Amazon gift card is Christina Moore.
Christina Moore. Hello, Christina. It's so good to see you. Congratulations. You know, this hour goes by so quickly, and I think I could just talk and talk and talk. But you know, all good things come to an end, and we have to say goodbye. But we appreciate everyone being on. Please stay in touch with us on Taft College Multiply. We've got more Taft Talks coming, and we'll let you know about this podcast, because all of you that were on it, I'm sure that you'll want to hear it again. There's so many good things that you want to hear. And I just want to thank you, and remember, everybody needs to know that they can make a difference, and it's really important to let people know. Every single person needs to know they can make a difference. So I leave you with that comment, and I sign off for now. Adios.